I want Spence because he's I don't know, got a bit of bad blood. And that's what I want.
What'd you think?
Hey, I'm glad he won, man. It's all good. Now I gotta go take his stuff. So it's great.
You know, Errol hasn't been busy. He's sort of needs a comeback fight himself. Tim needs a little bit of a comeback himself. He just had a small win over Velasquez. He's going to keep trying to work his way back in. So you look at the fight on paper and you think this is a sellable, marketable fight, and between two guys who need to work their way back in, and the winner is two big names, so the winner obviously creates a real drawing power to himself again and works their way probably into a title fight.
According to Ring Magazine, Mike Coppinger, Errol Spence is going to be back on sometime this summer, and he plans to try to treat Tszyu like a tune-up. Tszyu is going to have a tune-up fight to get ready for Errol Spence, and they're supposed to get it cracking, and I think this is a perfect opponent.
Announcement just dropped, and instead of celebration, the boxing world feels uneasy. Errol Spence Jr. is set to return in the summer of 2026 against heavy-handed Australian star Tszyu. On paper, it's explosive, a clash of styles, a redemption story, a guaranteed war. But beneath the hype, there's hesitation. This doesn't feel like a triumphant comeback. It feels risky. After 3 years away, Spence isn't just stepping back into the ring with an opponent. He's stepping in against time, damage, and the harsh reality that his body may not respond the way it once did.
I think Spence makes a comeback, and he's a Texas rep. I'm getting to the point where I feel like he's not going to make a comeback. I respect all fighters, as y'all know, and if you don't know, I'm sure people know that I'm friends with Terrence, and I'm because I know people expect to see Bud on here way more than they do. Bud comes to town, and he's training here and stuff like that, and I'm like, I don't want to use my friendship with him to get him on the show and stuff like that. I'll pick my moments and I'll pick my time. So saying that to say, I saw Spence at a wedding just a couple of months ago. Shout out to Tommy, been married now for a couple of months. And Errol happened to be the best man at the wedding. We talked for a minute, but I didn't ask him any questions about boxing. He looked good. He looked like he's, carrying the weight pretty well wherever he's at. And I know in the past we've seen him, balloon up. We've seen him be a little, chubby, thick, whatever the case may be, as we all do at some points in the neck and that face area. You guys know how I go. I didn't see that when I saw him at the wedding. So I'm like, okay. And then we were hearing the rumblings of a Fundora. When I think fighters get to a point where they want this, but they haven't been performing there. And I think that might be the case with Errol Spence Jr. Certainly was the case in my opinion, with Keith Thurman and also with Danny Garcia. I feel, even though they did battle injuries, I felt another big part of that was they wanted big pay against lower opponent. They didn't want to come back and get big pay against a big opponent. It's a part of the game. And I got a feeling that that's what Errol's looking at right now. I think
To understand the concern, you have to revisit July 2023, the night Terrence Crawford delivered a dominant performance against Spence. That wasn't just a defeat. It was a moment that shifted everything. Spence lost his titles and, more importantly, the aura of invincibility he carried for years. He absorbed heavy punishment that night, the kind of fight that can change a fighter physically and mentally. The arena fell silent as the balance of power in the division shifted.
Are you willing to do this rematch back at welterweight?
It's something I gotta talk to my management about, but hopefully it's at 154.
How was this particular weight cut? Was it a very difficult one, or did you feel at ease with the weight cut?
I mean, it's always difficult, but like I said, I don't make any excuses. The better man won tonight.
Since that night, Spence has been absent. No tune-up fights, no gradual return, just silence. 3 years in boxing is massive. Timing fades. Reflex is slow. The split-second reactions that once saved you can disappear. Most fighters coming off a layoff that long take a lighter fight. First, Spence is doing the opposite. He's jumping straight into a bout against an aggressive pressure fighter who constantly moves forward. That decision has sparked serious debate about whether this is ambition or unnecessary risk.
Or if he makes a comeback, this unfortunately is the one thing that I do know. Most fighters walk away until they have to come back, and usually it's the finance situation that brings them back. Certainly hope that doesn't end up being the case with Errol. If I had to bet on it right now, I would bet that Errol makes a comeback. Because what we saw from him in his last match against Crawford, that was just how that fight went. But at the end of the day, and we can tell by how he kept getting up, that ain't who he is. And he ain't going out like that. So that being said, I guess I said a whole lot. Yeah, Errol comes back. If Errol don't come back, then that, to me, that means he's good with where he's at. And like I always say, if you good, I'm good. I'm certainly not gonna force the kid back. You're not a Hall of Famer. You're not this. You're not that. Anything like that. I let people be where they are. You show me any different, and I respect you for whatever it is that you choose to show me. But Errol makes a comeback.
Strongest warning hasn't come from critics. It's come from a respected Hall of Famer. Timothy Bradley didn't analyze strategies or odds. He expressed genuine concern. Bradley knows what it takes to survive long careers in brutal divisions. When he looks at Spence, he sees a fighter who has already endured more than most.
Spence fight for the longest. I think we all been waiting on it. When it's going to get announced, when it's going to happen. Maybe we have something now within a few months. I'm not sure. But anyways, I'm going to let y'all know right now. Errol Spence don't need boxing. Errol Spence is only coming back maybe just for pride. That's it. Errol don't want to go out like this. But if you really dig deep and you really realize that Errol Spence was one of the best welterweights of this generation, he was.
Bradley's concern centers on accumulated damage. It's not just the Crawford loss. It's the serious car accident years ago. It's the detached retina surgery. It's the countless hard sparring sessions and championship wars. When you combine all that with a long layoff, questions naturally rise.
Years, champion, held it down, fought the best guys out there. 6 years, held the strap. That's what I'm talking about. That's legacy stuff right there. Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer at that. Made a lot of money, especially when he fought against Crawford. He don't need boxing. He don't need to come back. There's nothing else that Errol Spence needs to prove. He in there, like they say. He in there. He in the Hall of Fame. And he's paid. You feel me? So, the rest, it's just gravy on top. However, his health, that's what he should think about. This is my opinion. You don't need boxing, Earl. You good. Spend time with your kids and your family, bro. Dang, you ain't got nothing else to prove, dog. For real. You made your mark.